Good morning. My name is David Shenz. I'm the Vice President for Operations at ERP Suites. I'm really excited to be joined by Sean Mead, who is our Head of Security.
Good morning, David. It's really good to be here. I think it's important for people to also understand that you don't know where you're going unless you know where you are. And it's very important to kind of get that general, where am I in order to travel forward? I really do. I have to know exactly where I'm at. And that's where assessments come in. And David, I know you work with the customers an awful lot. And I believe that we can help them along this path as far as knowing where you are in a cyber environment.
Yeah, exactly, Sean. I think many customers, when they come to us around security, they will say very bluntly to me, David, I don't know where to even begin. Where do I start with assessing my risk right now? And in the old days, Sean, we used to have all these very large, complicated frameworks, which are great. They have their time and their place. But many customers are trying to figure out, how do I squeeze out the most bang for the buck in terms of what I assess, because I don't have the time, bandwidth, expertise to drive the whole NIST framework. And so how do we kind of get to the most important critical items first that prevent ransomware or other really large losses? And what we've done at ERP Suites is we've actually developed kind of a 10-point checklist on and 10-point assessment to look at the items that cyber insurers believe are the most important to look at. And the reason why we kind of look at guidance from the cyber insurers is because they're the ones who have to pay out the claims. And so they have the financial investment to say, is the customer doing the right things from a cybersecurity point of view? And now what they're demanding our customers to fill out is to fill out this questionnaire before they will even either potentially even underwrite the insurance, or if some of those items are not even present, they will make the insurance much more expensive. And so based on kind of that information we've seen from the cyber insurers, we know that there's kind of those 10 items that we really need to focus in and hone in on. So now we know not only what is going to be expensive and kind of required from a cyber insurance point of view, but we also know that that is kind of what are the payoffs to get the most bang for the buck in terms of protection for our customers. So kind of that type of assessment, Sean, is usually kind of a 3-week engagement. We'll kind of maybe set some scope, talk some access, and do that very quickly. And then second, then we'll start to then actually do the actual assessment where we'll ask questions back to a customer's IT department. We'll actually ask some questions back to the business, and we'll also do some checking ourselves of some of the technologies as well, based on the access we have. And then the third week is we actually prepare the report and provide that report back to the customer. And that's a very rapid assessment and is really able to provide a lot of value for very little effort.
So I think it's really cool that we've gone through the part of getting the information from cyber insurers, because as you stated, if someone is in a position where they're kind of like, I kind of know what the technical is, but you've taken it to the business side by doing that with the cyber insurance. And quite honestly, no matter how technically safe we feel, we have to be in the real world. And absolutely. I think it's great that we've done that ahead of time for the customers and then use that to structure that assessment. So there's a report at the end and everything, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So we give a report back to the customer of kind of what the recommendations are. And a lot of those points that we talked about, kind of those 10 points, are a lot of the things we've been talking about here already, Sean. It's around email security, it's user education, it's backups, it's DR, it's all those types of things, and we'll go through those very quickly and then provide a report back. The other thing that ERP Suites can also help customers with is also rectifying some of those items. Let's suppose you don't have a two-factor authentication solution and you have a VPN endpoint that's public. We can help actually remediate that, both implementing the 2FA solution with something like a Cisco Duo or a Microsoft two-factor solution, and integrate that into your VPN. and resolve that risk for a customer. And so it's we can really kind of be the one-stop shop to help with that. More complex assessments also can occur sometimes. Some customers will come to us for that, where they want to really kind of do a full vulnerability scanning of both their internal network and their external network as well. And we always find really interesting things on those assessments, don't we, Sean?
Yes, we have found some very interesting ones. Sometimes wide open. And when I say wide open, that comes down to what I like to call security by obscurity. And so if someone's digging down, they may find something that it got renamed a little bit, but it contains a password file on it. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that through time. So when you mentioned that about the recommendations, though, and going back to that, so you're saying we don't just simply say, do you have 2FA, or is there 2FA? No. Okay. We actually
exactly.
provide a solution.
We'll both, I think there's a couple of keys there. One is we'll actually drill down, does the 2FA protecting all the endpoints that needs to be protecting? Just because I've got 2FA implemented for my VPN, if I've not implemented 2FA for M365, as we talked earlier today, I've probably got a pretty serious risk still hanging out there. And coming off of that then is we'll both ask the question to you, but we'll also do some double checking of the configuration and the setup based on our understanding of the environment. That way it gives a really holistic understanding of how significant is the risk and kind of how to prioritize some of those remediations. Kind of once we go to a remediation step, we'll walk through, once we understand the risk, we'll kind of walk through different remediation options with a customer to say, here's the good, better, best approach to the remediation. Sometimes some customers want us to actually walk them through the changes. Sometimes they would just want us to write up the configuration plan for them. Sometimes they want us to do the whole kit and caboodle from project management to end user communication, and also turn the technology wrenches ourselves as well, and just provide some documentation at the end on what we fixed and why.
This is really such a good beginning for getting that initial, here's where I am now, and that's where I want to be.
Yep, absolutely.